Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Tuesday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Tuesday morning, guys. So, I don't know how I'm going to title this because there's so many different things pinging in my spirit. I don't have any one particular thing I want to speak about, but I do know there's various things. I can feel it in my spirit, so I just have to see where the Holy Spirit takes me. I know I want to at least start with pruning. I stated in the community post on yesterday, it feels like God is still pruning even when we felt like we've been pruned. Like some of you are probably starting to realize this. You almost felt like, okay, I passed this pruning season. I've allowed God to remove, people that just can't go, things. And then you felt settled for a while. And then you're discovering that he's still pruning. It is like, what? I mean, I thought the few were solid. I thought, like, what is going on? But I think this go around for many people is not so much that the people aren't good people. The question is, how are they benefiting your life? You may be benefiting their life, but really, how are they benefiting your life? And it's not like you're saying, okay, well, I benefit your life, so you owe me. No, but the higher you go is truly about reciprocity. And different levels, I'm realizing more and more, different levels are requiring different things in different mindsets, in different, it's crazy how you don't even know certain things until God starts to really take you higher, or right before he opens the door to a new level. You're constantly learning. You're truly constantly learning. So I think because some of you guys are about to be elevated to levels that are massive, because you passed your difficult tests in this last difficult season, right? That the people that God is going to have go with you to this next level have to be individuals with your same mindsets or higher. These people have to be reciprocal. God is moving people where you're only being able to benefit them. And they probably can't even, they may want to benefit you and just don't know how. Because it's very common where people feel like, well, I don't even know what to do, what to say, what to give, because it seems like you have it all, you know it all, right? And so it's not even their fault. It's not their fault. It's just that you've been elevated. And so that season is done. So God is now starting to remove people who may feel, people who are safe, people who are proven. But guys, give me 1 second. Let me see something right quick. People who are safe, people who are proven, but they're not reciprocal. This is why this walk can be a very, very lonely walk. Granted, very well worth it, but, or I'll take that back. I use Pastor R.C. Blake's words. Is not lonely at the top, is lonely in between levels. Because each level, there's things to be pruned. There's people to be pruned. And you're just like, before you go to each level, just get ready for pruning more and more and more and more and more and more. By the time you get to a certain level, it truly may just be you and one other person. If that. But when you get there, the people who put the work in, that's who's going to meet you there. And they already know all the traits of what it takes to be reciprocal and what it takes to elevate and incline, because they've been through the same thing you've been through. So they get it. All right. That's one thing. Next, I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about? Let's talk about what I spoke about on the community. One of you guys asked me to actually make a recording on this, but I'll just throw this in there really quickly in regards to never regret your big heart. Never regret your big heart. Okay, see, chosen people typically have big hearts. You're chosen. God literally handpicked you and you answered. God chose you for his purpose, whatever that purpose could be. Again, it's not always whatever that purpose is for you. So he made you a giver. He made you a server. He has to give you things. He has to give you gifts. He has to give you fruits of the Spirit. He has to give you these things so you can give it to other people. So naturally you're a giver. Naturally you're a server. But what can happen is life can beat us up so bad because most people in the world are selfish. Most people in the world are ungrateful, heartless, soulless, all that stuff. So even though you're naturally a giver, if that heart has been stepped on too many times and you don't know how to properly guard your heart, if you've been burned and hurt so many times by every single person that you can think about that you've helped, you can start to really grow an icebox over your heart. But if that's the case, God can't use you. So now we have to decipher, and this was my God, you talking about a whole season of learning this, and still sometimes I still have to really, really, really be intentional about certain things. But if you've grown this ice box over your heart because you've been burned one too many times, how is God supposed to use you? So he can't even give you the overflow that he wants to give you again because you're not going to do the right things with it because now you have a fear of being hurt. See, it's a difference between giving from spirit and giving from flesh or from giving from emotions, especially my empaths. This is the most difficult thing until God really equips you to understand how the spiritual realm works. See, I'll give you an example because I know sometimes I can really go deep. But let me try to give you a surface example of the difference between giving from spirit. I'll give you a couple examples from spirit versus emotions. Okay, so as an empath, you guys know we just want to save the world, right? We don't want anybody to hurt, right? It just hurts us to see other people hurt. So our emotions are all tied up in all kind of stuff. I'm just speaking flesh solely right now. And so let's just say you see a lady, this actually just happened to me probably about last week sometime. Let's say you see a woman on the corner holding a sign saying her children are hungry, etc., and she have the children even there with her and she's holding up the sign. Well, naturally, the fleshly, emotional part of individuals, again, especially empaths, you just want to help her just to help her because it's like, whoo. But, and that's just the right thing to do, right? God bless you, you bless them. But then from the spiritual side, if you're connected, boom, you get some kind of conviction in your spirit to say, no, don't even touch that. No. And it's for different reasons. With her, I couldn't see her face because she had her back turned. But when the light changed and I went up further and then I got the light, I already had the money in my hand. When she turned around and looked at me, she was a whole witch. A whole witch. Looked like she was maybe Mexican, I think. I don't even know. Cute kids. But when she turned to look at me, a whole witch. You ain't getting, no ma'am. Because, first of all, my spirit convicted me not to do so. I mean, she didn't know I was going to give her the money anyway. I just had it in my hand, right? But my spirit convicted me. Why I couldn't give it? I don't know. I didn't ask no questions. For one, I don't know what you're doing with the money that you accumulate. I don't know if you casting spells with this money and everybody who donated into that pot is going to be affected somehow. I don't know. All I know is God says no. Now, if I tap out spiritually and I felt like, oh, these kids are so cute and it's not fair to the kids that their mother's a witch and I'm just going to give it anyway. No. So you got to be so connected spiritually that you know when God says yes and God says no. Okay, on the flip side, you have individuals who feel like, I'm never giving a crackhead money, or I'm never giving this person money who claims that they want a burger, but I know they're going to go get drunk, or they're going to go, no, I'm not doing that. Okay, that's just most people natural's mind. Even with empath, you don't see it like most people see it, right? You see it like, that can be me. You see it like, just thank God I had a strong mind, because most of us could mess around and get caught up in some addictions, some of the things that we've experienced in life. So don't ever judge somebody just because a person, their mindset have, something coming to my spirit right now. I think I may have said this before, but where was I? I was in Charlotte somewhere, and it was a gentleman who was a quote unquote bum, as the other gentleman called him, but he had stopped me. I was at the gas station, and he walked up to me, and he, can I have some change, blah, blah, blah. To make a long story short, as I was talking to him, because I typically talk to people, I like to talk and hear their story. So as I'm speaking to this gentleman, there's another guy pull up in his Benz or whatever, and he's basically yelling at me, what is wrong with you? You don't just sit here and talk to a bum with, you have out of state tags, and this bum this and this bum that. And I'm just staring at him, because I'm just appalled that he's calling this man a bum in all these words right in front of this man's face. And I'm stunned. Like, seriously, I'm stunned. And so he pulled off. And then the gentleman started to walk off before I could even finish having our conversation. So I called him back, and I apologized for this lunatic who just pulled off. But make a long story short, fast forward, this gentleman who I was speaking to, he in his wallet, because he was putting the little change I gave him in the wallet, and there was a obituary of he was in the military. And which is enough right there to screw your mind up if you're not careful. When he was in the military, he got a call, and his wife and many of his girls, I think he had like 3 or 4 girls, all got killed in a car accident. So you're over there fighting for your country, which is already and then you get a call that your whole family is wiped out. Okay, so some people may have, just pressing to God, and it just made them stronger. And okay, you got that group of people, but then you got another group of people. It was just too much. It was just too much. And so he turned to alcohol or drugs. Does that make him a bum? Does that make him, come on, seriously? Because the God I know, the God I serve, and I've seen it happen, that same quote-unquote bum can be driving that Benz, and the dude driving that Benz can be a quote-unquote bum. Trust me when I tell you. So stop, I don't even know why I'm here, but if that's you, stop judging people, right? I get the whole idea of we all grown, and if I can work, you can work. I get that. I do. I'm a perspective thinker. I can see things from both point of views. However, don't ever get it twisted. You can have a bad season tomorrow, literally. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. God will always reward you and increase you when you can take and bless people with the things He blessed you with. He has to. He wants you to reach more people. But how many people are willing to do that? So, okay, back to what I was saying. All right, so now let's just say that there's a crackhead somewhere, right? And this crackhead is asking you for money. This has happened to me before, where you may have the okay to give it to them, because whatever, the person really may be hungry. They may be a crackhead, but seriously, when they hit you up, they really may be hungry at that time. What are you going to do? Give them the money and watch them for 24 hours to see if they're going to buy a burger or smoke crack? I ain't got time for that. I got more people to serve, right? If you go buy crack, that's on you. When I gave you what I gave from my heart. So I'm going to be blessed. You do whatever you do, God will deal with you accordingly. So let's just say God do call you to give a crack, and God says bless them. And you're like, no, God don't want nobody to bless no crackhead. Listen, if you're asking to be used, do you know what use that $20 that you give them, that yes, they may go buy crack for? That next hit can be the hit. Well, honestly, transparent, can't take them out. But that next hit can be the hit that put them on their face so bad. Mess around and end up in the hospital for 2 days. I'm talking about don't even know they're going to make it. And that's the minute that they turn around and mess around and get up out of that bed and say, I will never in my life touch another crack pipe again. You got people who have these stories. Sometimes God have to put you on your face to get your attention. So don't get so caught up in the whole mindset of, like, some people are just too religious. God is strategic. Now, again, you have to stay connected spiritually, because it can be the same scenario. And God says no, because God knows that one's going to take him out. So you may be a person who naturally just gives because, okay, this person is dirty. They're twitching. These people are going through withdrawal. That's the hardest thing to see, at least for me, right? They're twitching. And you just want to give it to them because, woo, you're going through it. But God says no. Because maybe God do know that's going to be the one to take him out. And he ain't ready for him. You got to be so tapped in spiritually that you can't move from your emotions. And that is the most difficult thing. An empath and a whole woman. But you learn, right? You learn. God will teach you more and more and more and more and more and more as you go. So never, ever regret having a big heart when you think they're using you. They can't use you. It ain't even yours to be used with. God gave it to you to be able to bless other people. If they're getting over on you, you can't see that as they're getting over on you. They're getting over on God. Or they think they are, I should say. Listen, I don't think people really know how this thing works. You think you're getting over on people. Now, you can play with just your average person, but you can't play out with God's people. Because you mess around and you try some old conniving, some foolishness, and you really think that you're getting over on the person. You mess around, lose your whole house. You mess around, lose your whole job, and never get one in 10 years. This thing is deep, and I don't think people really understand. So it ain't even about you. The person, they can't use you. It's not yours. God can take it from you tomorrow and give it to somebody else. And that's just not money. That's other things, right? That's other things. So don't worry about people. But guard your heart. Protect your heart. And my only advice, again, to do that is you got to stay connected spiritually. You got to know when it's God telling you to move. You got to be so connected that you feel for me, it's very obvious. There's just a prompt. There's a conviction in your spirit. Because sometimes I guess we should always have time to go pull off somewhere and pray and say, God, is this you or is this not you? But with me, it's just this prompting in my spirit. There's just a knowing. You know that you know that you know that you know. Out of 100 people in this parking lot, there's a pinging for this particular person. There's something God needs. God, what is it? Never, ever regret your big heart, that you love on people and that you're loyal and that you're always getting cheated on and that you're always getting burned and nobody loves you and da-da-da-da-da. Yes, it's hurtful. It's hurtful, but you got to learn how to guard your heart. Religion will have people making people think that you can just let people just use you and abuse you over and over. In the name of Jesus, they have cheated on you 1,000 times. They're going through your wallet when you're sleeping because they need a crack hit 1,000 times per week, and you just got to sit there and take it in the name of Jesus. Honey, if that's how God works through you, then do what you do. But for me, it's important that we guard our heart. It's important that we know that when you get a conviction from God and God says, that's it. That's the second time they try that nonsense. It might be the fifth time. That's the fifth time they lie to you. I didn't give you a release yet because I wanted to see, I was going to use you, right? As a vessel to see if I can really work some things through them, and if they will learn through you, learn something I'm trying to teach them as I use you as a vessel. And it just didn't work. So you're released. And when I release you, don't go back. Period. So you see the difference between giving from spirit, loving from spirit, guarding your heart. You can't do it on your own. We're not strong enough. The way this world, we are not strong enough that's why so many people are addicted to alcohol and crack and sweets and food. Like addiction, we're trying to navigate this heartless world through our own flesh. We're just not strong. There's no way. Man, I'm just thinking personally about certain hits, right? Certain hits along the way, certain heartbreaks, certain this. Ain't no way in the world we can be in our right mind if we're not dependent on God. All right, next thing I want to talk about. What did I speak about? Pruning. Never regretting your big heart. And it was something else. Oh, a good sis emailed me in regards to, I guess, the infamous quote that black women are the least desirable or something like that. And I guess you would have to be under a rock if you don't know the new climate, I guess, of black women and black men. Listen, I've said before, I'll say it again. I actually have a whole recording on this. If I remember, I will actually attach it in this description. It is a whole agenda. And so many people are so asleep spiritually and just common sense sleep that they can't even realize that this whole thing was a whole agenda. It's so deep that I wouldn't even speak on certain things on YouTube. But this thing is way deeper than most people even understand. But I'll just tell you this. I'll say it again. The shift is here. Point blank, period. The shift is here. So they're pushing all kind of narratives to keep people separated. Because they know the power we carry when we're together. But people are so... Lord, I'm going to say something. They're so blind. People are so blind. They're distracted with social media. They're distracted with the BET Awards. They're distracted. Like, it's a whole agenda. But anyway, it's a lie from the pits of hell. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Now, I will say this. Well, I'll save that for a second. I say this in all humbleness, and I'm speaking in general. Not even personal, just in general. I meet men every day, all day, from all different races, nationality, whatever you want to call it. And the majority of these men are not just hit and quitted men. These are men who are truly, truly trying to get to know you, who are truly, listen, it's not true. And after reading your email, sis, I can tell that this stuff have really got up into your psyche. You've allowed this stuff to get into your spirit like a lot of women have. A lot of women are truly broken down in their spirit because they are believing a lie that was literally an agenda. And sadly, they're using your own race of men to do it. Because, well, never mind. You got to be a leader. You got to think for yourself. You got to be so spiritually connected that you know better. When you're vibing low and your vibration is low, you believe anything anybody says to you. You move with the masses, and you believe that nonsense. Now, again, I'm a perspective thinker. I don't ever see things from one point of view. I can't lie. Some of the things that men say, they have a great argument. You got to listen. You can't be so combative that you want to reject everything. No, some of the things they say is true. The problem is the delivery. Like, you can take a man like Pastor R.C. Blake's, and then you can take a man, I'm not even calling other names on other sides. You can take another man. If we're honest, some, all caps, some of the points are exactly the same, but the delivery is different. One is moving in love. One is moving out of triggers, hate, resentment, hurt, and then it comes across as a nasty attack. There's no woman on the face of this earth who's going to be able to receive an attack that's coming from that. It's very obvious where it's coming from. There's no way in the world that tone and that delivery can be coming from a man who is not harboring hate or resentment. Let it be from a toxic mom. Let it be from the first woman ever who broke your heart. Let it be from rejection in school. Whatever, right? It's very obvious that it's coming from the wrong energy. The one thing is for sure, and take this how you want to take it, I don't even care, because it shouldn't even be you anyway, because nobody's on my page is like this. But one thing is for sure, I don't care the race of the man, the age of the man, it doesn't matter. No man wants a ghetto woman. And that shouldn't sting anybody here, because there's nobody here ghetto. I don't care the race. No man wants a ghetto woman. So really, when they're really speaking about, and sadly that they won't even dissect, right? I've seen some conversations or comments I should say, where the man, which is the right thing to do, he makes a point by saying some, a lot, or many, but not all. That's very, very important. Because it's not all black women. Far from it. So stop lumping us in one category. So if you happen to be that woman who, again, I know you're not, who is ghetto, right? Maybe you don't know any better. Maybe you were raised in the ghetto. Maybe that's all you know. Few tips. Stop watching that ratchet TV. Right? And ain't nothing wrong with looking at I'll glance at it every blue moon. Some foolishness, right? Stop watching that ratchet TV. Try reading. Stop focusing so much on just materialistic things and really work on your inner being. Make sure that you're healing. If you've been exposed to that stuff, make sure that when God exposed you to certain mindsets, that you're not rejecting it, because all you know is one, God is exposing it to you because he wants to really open up your mind. If every friend around you is ghetto, you got to find some new friends, point blank, period. And I can go on and on and on and on to label characteristics, I guess, of ghetto. But I'm not doing that because nobody here is ghetto. But it's a lie. Next thing next. Stop letting these men get up in your ear telling you if you're not 21, you hit the wall. If you're not 25, you've hit the wall. And that no man wants to marry you because you got kids. Listen. It's a mindset, ladies. And when you start to really believe that stuff, it shows up in your spirit. So when you encounter these type of men, or men in general, when you run into men at wherever you are, grocery store, whatever, you already have this thing in your spirit that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're such and such. So it's in your spirit. You got to show up like you know it's, sir, I'm everything, point blank, period. I know what I carry, point blank, period. If I touch it, it turns to gold, point blank, period. I got choices, point blank, period. That's how you got to know that thing in your spirit, because that's really what men are attracted to. But when you're walking around frumpy and you're feel like, oh, I've hit the wall, oh, I have a baby daddy, oh, no man wants me, oh, I've gained weight, it's like that vibration is coming. You're moving from a place of like desperation, like please, like pick me, please choose me, dude. You pick me. So this is why it's important. And again, still have to be realistic. Still have to be realistic, right? You may be somebody who's 64. Then you can't have an argument about maybe being attracted or wanting to date younger guys, which is absolutely fine. Miss Cougar, do your thing. Right into the wheels fall off. Point blank, period. But you can't argue the fact and get upset when this man wants a family. Or, okay, you're 60, whatever, and he's 30. He may not have children. And you can't get upset to say, oh, well, men, No, that's his right. You got to figure out what works for you. So it's not that you can't get a 30-year-old. Find you a 30-year-old who don't want children. Everybody don't want children. I don't want any. I've met men who don't want children, especially now. It's almost the mindset of like, who in the world? I wouldn't even want to bring a child into this world. If things are the way there is now, how they are now, I couldn't imagine what a child would have to go through in the next 15 years. Or find you a 30-year-old who already have children and don't want any more. See, you gotta be strategic. Another thing. Who says you have to date inside your race? Well, Dr. Umar says. And again, being a perspective thinker, the man got valid points, point blank, period. When you really listen to what he's saying, it's true. But the point I'm trying to make is this right here. You got to do what works for you. You can't go based on what people are saying. Right? There's a couple just coming up in my mind right now. I always see them on YouTube, but I heard they're very popular on TikTok. I think she's like 27. She got I think 3 kids, had 2 boys previously, met the guy is handsome, a white guy, or he's Russian or something like that. I don't know. Got like the Rick Ross beers, bald head, big dude. Then changed his girl life. Raising her boys and the kids, she's black, he's white. The kids' father aren't even in the boys' lives, but he's raising the boys. I forgot. I think her name is Queen or something like that. And hear me, I am not telling anybody to go date outside your race. I have, and I'll do it tomorrow if I choose to, right? I'm not going to let you dictate what works for me. So the point I'm trying to make is, ladies, if you feel like every black man you meet is putting you down and you feel like you want to be married, but they're saying you will never get married because X, Y, and Z. First of all, we're already at the percentage rates. Listen, do what works for you, point blank, period. Do what works for you, point blank, period. But it's a lie from the pits of hell. I'm telling you now, you are not the least desirable. Come spend a day with me. Come spend one day with me. And I'll prove that to you. But it's a mindset. Open up your mind. Open up, like, go places. Please. Applebee's is not where it's at. Every time you want to go to. Go travel. Go to Italy, honey. They'll marry you on sight, right? And I want to also be clear. Listen, don't let them tell you that all black men, this and all black men. You got some great black men out here. Period. Successful, traditional, masculine. Again, it's a narrative that they're trying to push. But anybody who is connected knows better. Period. They want us to constantly keep disrespecting and dishonoring black men, and that's why they're pushing this narrative. But at the end of the day, every race has good and bad, right? White people have the trailer park trash, right? They say black people have the ghetto, right? Listen, we can go on and on and on and on. So it's not about no race, because everybody have good and bad, right? It's about character. It's about integrity, point blank, period. It's about moving a certain kind of way. But at the end of the day, these men don't have everything wrong. Seriously, like some of these women are so set in their ways because they feel like I ain't changing because da 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 da. Well, don't change. Truly, you don't have to change, but you can't get upset that somebody don't want that type of energy around them. Like, you got to be at peace so you can attract peace. You got to be healed so you can attract heal. You got to know what you carry. You got choices, boo. It's your girl, Kizzy Ross.